So first of all, thanks all for joining us. I know a lot of you are actually on your Easter holidays at the moment, even though it probably doesn't quite feel like it. So I really appreciate you taking the time out to join us. Hopefully it'll be useful to you. It'll definitely be useful for us as well. So, oh, hello, Neil. So the purpose of the session is to answer any questions that you guys have. It will either be me or Francis answering those, but also you guys are the ones using it the most, so you might also be able to answer each other's questions, which I'm sure will be really useful, and we can't wait to hear. And then the same with any tips or helpful learnings that you guys have found whilst using it. That would be useful for both us and for obviously you guys, hopefully, to see what everyone else is doing. Using Sparx Maths Classroom outside of the actual classroom is new to us as well. So normally, obviously, it's used within the walls of a classroom. So we're really excited to hear how it's been going for you guys. A bit about me first. Some of you will know me because I'm your liaison, but my name is Hannah and I'm one of the school relationships executives, which means I'm one of the liaisons to a number of schools. So hello to my schools that I know have joined. You guys obviously all know your own liaisons as well. And then we also have Francis here today, who is our process and training executive, and she's going to be answering some of the questions too, and just here to support. So a lot of you would have seen Francis at the beginning. Francis, give everyone a wave. So I also quickly wanted to take the opportunity just to say thank you for your patience last week with the couple of issues we're having. So we're really, really pleased to be able to offer Sparx to so many teachers and students whilst this crazy stuff is happening. But that meant that there was a lot of intake at once, and that kind of resulted in a couple of issues. But luckily we've had a dedicated team working on it and it's all fixed and fine. But we had some really nice comments from you all, so we really appreciate that. And just before I get on to the last bit of housekeeping, I also just wanted to say thank you for all of the fantastic work you're doing as teachers. We obviously work with teachers a lot. We have a lot of ex-teachers and parents that work for Sparx, and just the comments that they've been saying about the effort that all of their teachers have been putting in for their children and stuff is just amazing. So thank you for everything that you're doing, and hopefully we can help and support you if we can. So I'm going to present my screen to you now so that you can see. Bear with me. If it will let me. Oh, it's currently not letting me share my screen. If I can't, Francis, you might need to share the slides. I don't know if you're able to do that. I think the update that I did earlier has unfortunately not allowed me to. Are you able to share them, Francis? Right, I'll send them across to Francis to share with you, but in the meantime I will read them out just so you know what's coming up. So as I've already said, this is being recorded, so for those that joined late, if you don't want your face or your voice to be on the screen, then just turn off your webcam and your microphone. We will then send this recording to you via an email, and it will also be on the Sparx community Facebook group. So if you're not aware of what that is already, have a little search on Facebook. We can send you the link if you like. It's just another place to kind of share tips, ideas, and help each other and stuff. Whilst you're not talking, please could I ask that you mute your microphones. This just avoids us hearing any weird feedback and things like that. So just whilst you're not speaking, it'd be really helpful. But obviously, when you do want to speak, then you can just turn it on and that's fine. And then there's a chat box you might be able to see where there's a little one in the corner of your video screen. There's a little box that looks like there's some writing next to what should be the picture of you in the top right. I'll send them here. I've just written hi in there. So feel free to write any comments in there at all. Same way as if you have any questions, what we'd actually ask you to do, please, is if you could write just the word question, then Francis can track who's got one to ask, and then she'll call up who's coming next. So just write just write question if you're happy to say it yourself. But if you prefer Frances to read it for any reason, then just write the question out and she can read that, and then we can answer it for you. If you have any comments or questions whilst either I or someone else is explaining, then feel free to jump in as well. We want this to be a conversation as well as we possibly can over Google Chat. So feel free to do that. And obviously we really hope this is helpful. So if you have any feedback at all, that would be really great. I'm sure your liaisons have said it to you a million times, but we love feedback, so please share it with us. So does anybody have a question or anything to share to start with? No?
Well, I'm happy to kick off if you like.
Yeah, absolutely.
So my name's Griff. I'm head of maths at an international school in the south of Spain, and we were trialing Sparx for year 7, and that had really just come online a couple of weeks before the virus hit Spain, which it hit Spain about a week or two. We're about 2 weeks ahead of the UK in terms of the trajectory of everything. So we'd only just begun to introduce that. And the kids were very excited about it, year 7, of course, so they would be excited. But as soon as we closed, and we've been closed 3 weeks, we're in our 3rd week now, we took the opportunity that you gave us to extend the use of Sparx to 8, 9 and 10. And obviously that was introduced online, so because we had already closed, so we're learning how to use it as teachers, as well as although Danielle, who'd come to one of your trainings, one of our teachers, had showed us it and so on. So it's great. We're finding it really, really useful in terms of student attention and so on, and focus during online lessons. We have timetabled lessons in the morning. Now, the only comment I would have or question is that whilst as a teacher I can see the questions they get wrong or the questions they've answered correctly, the only thing I cannot see, and the only thing real feedback I have actually that is anything other than positive, overwhelmingly is positive. And at the end I might just show a little time-lapse video I did of this morning's
that'd be fantastic.
Which I can't share it with you in the sense because of GDPR, but I can show it to you, which of all the boxes going green over an hour. It's just amazing, very exciting. But the one point is that so kids say to me, we use Google Meet just as we are here. They'll say, Dr. Griff, I'm stuck on a question and I can't see it. So either they have to present their screen, which is a bit cumbersome, or so on. I can see similar questions, obviously, if other students have got that far. But that's the only, in terms of the platform, that's the only amendment that would be useful in terms of online. Otherwise, it works a dream. It's been a real boon for us. It's been really, really helpful in terms of us transferring, overnight to an online platform. So thank you very much. I just want to say thank you from our department to you for enabling that to happen, because otherwise the maths progress would be nothing like it is at the moment. We can see them making progress even though it's online. So thank you very much. But that's the only kind of question I would have. I know it would change. It's a big change because I can understand kind of how the platform works, that being able to see the question before they answer it is a difficulty. But that's the only thing that would make that would make life easier online.
Yeah, thank you. That's so nice to hear.
Sorry, that was a very long question.
No, not at all. Honestly, it's the whole reason that we're doing this today is because we want to be able to hear back from the experience you guys are having. So I would absolutely love to see the videos. And that's really good to hear. I completely agree. It would be really good to be able to see the question the students are on. And obviously the way that Classroom is designed for being in the classroom means that generally, normally, teachers would be able to walk around and see it. But for the future, for being online, that's definitely something that we can feed back to the team. And once we get a bit of kind of downtime, maybe, it's something that they can consider putting onto the roadmap to add in if we're staying down this route, because yeah, it would be a lot easier if you could see what they're currently on as well as what they've done. So that's really good feedback to have, so thank you.
Hannah, would you I've got a suggestion to make there. Would you like me to just take 2 minutes to run through that?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Let me just quickly switch my camera on. So just to briefly introduce myself, my name's Boyd, and I work as part of the product team here at Sparx. I'm just going to quickly share my screen. Okay. So just to check then, Hannah, are you seeing my screen there?
I'm currently seeing you. Oh, wait, now I'm seeing your screen. Yep.
Cool. So hopefully everyone else can as well. Whilst I appreciate this isn't in lesson monitoring, what you are able to do there, Griff, is if you go back to the running lessons list, find the lesson in the list that you're focusing on. You'll then see the objectives that that lesson contains. And if you hit the information symbol over to the right-hand side here, this is going to show you, it's not necessarily going to be the exact variant of the question that the student gets, but it will show you example questions for every question that students are going to receive around this objective in the lesson. So what you could do there is say to the student, tell me which objective you're working on, i.e. is it objective 1? Are you working in the core extension or challenge? And what letter is the task item that you're stuck on? So let's say they say, I'm working on objective 2, it's in the core and it's item B. What you could do there is that's objective 2. So I preview the questions, it's in the core and it's item B. So if I hit that, so this is a variant of that question that the student's been asked. So I appreciate that's a bit disconnected from lesson monitoring, but hopefully that would be kind of helpful. What I'd also say is this is an issue that we're aware of. I can't say that we've got a solution coming to this in the next few weeks. However, we do have a solution in mind, and it will be happening. It's just probably going to be a little while away now because of the situation we're currently in. We're having to respond to a few other things. I hope that's helpful.
Yeah, no, it is. Thank you very much. As I say, we're as teachers, we were kind of we were expecting to roll out Sparx next academic year to other years, kind of going, growing up with year 7, as it were. So we're playing catch up. I was unaware of that. I was aware of the teacher objectives, that the teaching questions you can use at the beginning, and I make little videos of those, but that's really helpful. So thank you very much.
Cool, no worries.
Yeah.
Got a question from Jason. Oh, these are for you, Griff. I don't know if you can see these.
I can, hold on, and I'm happy to answer them. I made, first of all, I made some videos for our students. Our students, I would say, we're a private school. Our students are not fantastically well behaved, but they're probably better behaved than most UK state schools, the ones that I've taught in anyway. So they are quite obedient. And so I made some videos and asked them to watch those. And I mean, they're young people. They just they know, find their way around the platform better than I do. And so the way our school is working, secondly, so firstly, and I'm happy to share the videos with you so you can make your own, but I mean, you can make your own, I'm sure. Secondly, we have timetabled Google Meets, and yes, students are expected to log on to the Google Meet, and I can, like we are, they're expected to be muted and have their videos off. but they are expected to respond to comments in the chat line or to comments that the leader, that is me, makes. And I just kind of harangue them a little bit, just saying, oh, Mario, I can see you haven't logged on yet. Is there issues? Or I try to say, yeah, I can see you've achieved the core objectives. That's great. Go on to the extension. And that seems to work pretty well. I'm really impressed. As I say, I'm happy to run this little time-lapse video. It's only 30 seconds long, but you'll see a class of 25 really munching their way through. I think it's a straight line equations lesson. I hope that answers your questions, Jason.
Great, thank you guys. Just catching up on these ones here. We encountered the same problems if been an individual student. Yeah, okay. Does anybody else have any questions, or shall I go through a couple that we've had in the past? Nope. Okay, so feel free to keep typing in the comments box if something comes up. So one question that we had quite a lot from teachers was being able to see what students are doing whilst they've logged out of a lesson. So this is if a lesson's still running and you haven't ended the lesson yet, but the student has logged out. So a lot of people have been having issue wanting to see what they're stuck on or what they're doing, but obviously if they've logged out, you can't currently see what they're working on. You can see anyone else that's still logged in. So the answer to this is either obviously students stay logged in, preferably, or they can log back in and you'll be able to see them again. Or alternatively, once you end the lesson, you'll be able to see it in the lesson summary. So that will have all of the students that have logged in and all the progress that they've got through. But currently, whilst the lesson is still live and running, if they've logged out, you won't be able to see. So you'll need to wait till the end of the lesson to see that. So that's something that we've had as quite a common question. So I thought I'd just go through that now. Another one that we've had is, so for those of you that are using Classroom generally and haven't just used it whilst you've been closed, obviously normally you'd run a few objectives in your lesson and then you'd end your lesson so that it would automatically go into homework. What we've had is quite a lot of teachers, and I'd love to hear if you guys have been doing the same, is adding quite a few objectives to a lesson and then letting that lesson run on for a few days. So this is really interesting for us to know how you're using it outside of the actual classroom. So this is absolutely fine. Some people have been asking whether it's fine to add lots of objectives and leave it open for numerous days, and this is okay. So you can add up to 15 objectives to a lesson and allow that to run for however long you'd like. But you can obviously only see the student progress if they're logged in, and if you do want the topic to go into homework, it's very unlikely, or it's less likely if you're leaving it open for a few days, that it will go into homework automatically as taught. It might well do that, but if not, you will have to manually add it in afterwards to make sure that they're seeing that, or even during whilst the lesson's still ongoing. If you're leaving it open for a week, say, you can manually add the topic in at any point you want for it to go out in your homework, if that is indeed what you're doing. Any other questions, or shall I carry on? Yes, Sandra.
I think I've got can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. We are using it new, Classroom, and literally set it up remotely. So my question is, how do you end a lesson? Because I think we've set it up to run a lesson and given a deadline on another place where we have to set our home learning and deadlines. But so how do you actually end a lesson? So you close that login session.
So I'm going to try and show my screen one more time, and if not,
I can always jump in if you need me to, Hannah. Just let me know.
Thank you. Ooh. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
No, it's gone. It came and went.
Oh.
It buffered and went.
Can anybody else see my screen?
We can. Yes, I can see your screen.
Sandra, if you go into the list, so at the top of the video call, there's kind of little people icons. If you go into that list, you should be able to select Hannah Cox, and I think it says presentation.
Yeah, got it.
If you click on that, can you see it now?
Yeah.
Great. So hopefully you can see a running lesson at the moment, so you can see how the students are all getting on. If you want to end the lesson, all you have to do is press this one up here.
Okay.
And then that will end it, and then you'll be able to view the lesson summary and everything from then on. You can have more than one lesson running at a time. So, for example, all of these running, say they're running for a whole week. You can end different ones at different times, but students, as long as they have different codes, they can log into more than one lesson throughout that week, depending on how you're using it. But yeah, it's just that one up there.
Thank you. Right, we missed that because we set several objectives for like a week.
Okay.
And we're using the home learning as 2 of our lessons, because to do compulsory and optional, compulsory and target, etc., will take the time of about 2 of our lessons, because we've been instructed not to sort of overload students with this new independent learning. Some of them are finding it a little bit challenging to organise their time. So we're just doing 2 lessons worth, and they've learnt this from literally them for themselves. So that's great. Thank you very much.
That's okay.
We'll try and do that.
Griff, yes. Just let me have a look at that. You say add an objective to a lesson. How do you do that? I've just been selecting from your list. Yeah, so I will demonstrate how. Can everyone still see my screen?
Yeah.
Fantastic. So if I go back to the lessons page, stop me if this isn't what you mean, Griff. If I pick a class. So what I mean about not that class. Oh, that class apparently. Bear with me whilst I find a class that actually has.
Hannah, you need to. There you go. You got it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, what I mean by selecting an objective is if I click on this one here, I'll do a couple just for an example. So I select all the objectives that I want, and then it's those that you run the lesson with. So you can do this through any of the topics that are available for you down here. I don't know if that's what you're doing, Griff, but you can select any topic that you want, and within those topics are the objectives that you can then add into your lesson. And it's from these objectives that you're selecting, it will generate your teaching objective, your teaching questions, and your lesson outline automatically, and then you can run your lesson with those objectives.
Hannah?
Yes, Francis.
I might jump in here because I've just asked Griff what school he's in, and I've been into his site, and you're actually on you don't have this switched on in your site because you joined at a different time. Looks like you actually have lessons switched on, not objectives.
Okay.
So it's not possible in your school, Griff, to do what Hannah's showing you, but I think it's Jackie your liaison. I think Jackie's Lord Newton.
I think so too.
Yeah, sorry, I'm Danielle is our kind of lead teacher on this, as the head of department. So I'm absolutely, I'm afraid I don't know.
Yeah, I think it is Jackie. And so what we'll do, at the moment you're currently on a structure which means we give you suggested lessons, but it means that you can't then select objectives. But we can I'll discuss that with Jackie and see if you feel like it's more useful, we can look at moving you on.
We can talk about that, about what we're going to do moving forwards. Absolutely, that's fine. Yeah, brilliant. Thanks.
Well, then you've had a little sneak peek about what might be coming.
yeah, no, it's good.
Any other questions from anybody? We've slightly overrun from where I think we're officially meant to finish 5 minutes ago, but obviously feel free to stick around if you're happy to.
I've got another question.
Yeah.
Has anybody got a really good way of supporting pupils when they have a seek help, as we're remote now?
That's a really good question. any teachers got any suggestions there? I could
Yeah, I've just put a question in the chat box just to ask whether there could be, for this period, a possible add-on where we could message a pupil directly, or just have some message pop up to the class. I have over half of my class join me on conference, but not all of them have the ability to do so. So some of them are just doing it blind. Well, you know, they've got the videos to help them. But then I see them put their hand up in Sparx. I'm like, I can't help you. You're not in the room. So it would be good, but I don't know how technically possible that would be, just as an interim solution, seeing as we're all doing this remotely, to just send a chat message to a student just to give them a nudge to come on to conference, or just a little one-liner to help them look at the problem that they've encountered.
Yeah, I personally, I'm not in the product team, so I might defer this one to Boyd, but my guess is I don't think we have any immediate plans to do that, because I think implementing that might be quite a lot of work and a bit tricky for the moment, but Boyd might be able to answer that one a little bit better.
Yeah, sure. So we did actually consider this when we were recently updating the system with a kind of this new remote context in mind. And the reason that we decided not to move forward with this and to focus on other things is because the technical complexity to implement that kind of feature was probably outweighed by the fact that it's our assumption that schools have other communication mechanisms that they can use to get in touch with their students. And so our recommendation is really, if you've got other mechanisms like email, like your school's learning platform, to get in touch with those students through those means. Also, just to clarify, when you see a Seek Help symbol pop up in lesson monitoring, the student isn't actually flagging themselves that they want to put their hand up. That's something that happens automatically when a student answers a question incorrectly 3 times in a row. So don't necessarily feel like they're pushing something and expecting to get a response from you.
That's good. I didn't realize that, and I was making these queries to students in emails after the lesson. You know, you're putting your hand up, but I didn't realize that wasn't voluntary. Yeah, that's good to know.
Cool.
Thank you, everybody. Did anyone else have any other suggestions for Sandra?
So one thing we've done is we've had students get in contact with us either through email or through other like school platforms where we set our home learning, and then they've told us what question they're stuck on. So objective 2, core question E or something. And then we've made a Loom video or something like that and just posted like the hyperlink to that. And then they can go on and watch it, and we get a notification through when they have watched it. So we can see that this video has been watched by someone, and we've only sent that link to that person. So we know that that student has taken that. And we've basically just gone through the question and showed them how to do it.
Oh, thank you.
That's a really good suggestion. Thank you, Kerry. Fantastic. Did anyone else have any other questions? If not, I had 1 or 2 for you all. In a similar vein to videos like you just described, Kerry, how have you guys been, or have you guys been doing any part of the kind of teaching section of the lessons? So are you creating videos beforehand, or a lot of you doing live videos and then letting the students get on, or are you just kind of, are they just doing purely Sparx with no videos attached? Because I think we've heard a bit of a mix, so I'd be really interested to hear what you guys are doing.
Yeah, we're doing setting a Maths Watch video to watch.
Okay.
First, and then the Sparx.
Okay, great. Has that been going quite well? Students seem to be.
Well, we've only had 1 week really.
Okay.
So the school's being closed, so it's patchy. I think, and it's something that we will persist with when we go back the week, you know, on like the 14th of April. I think we meant to go back, so
okay,
we can let you know at the end of that week.
Yeah, that'd be great. Anybody else been using it differently?
Okay, yeah, so
you go ahead.
No, Sophie, yeah, I've been talking far too much. You go.
Thanks. We're the same. We've just started using it since we closed down. And the first week, last week, when we were using it, we were just having a timetabled online help session where I was using a Google visualizer to help. They tell me individual questions and I'd work through it using Google Meets. But I think we're going to change that when we come back after Easter, and we're going to do more teaching using the visualizer first, then setting them the work while we're watching them do it during the timetabled lessons.
That's great. Thank you. It's really good to know.
Thanks.
Griff, did you want to jump in with what you're doing?
Yeah, I'm. So I use the questions, the teaching questions. I just do a very little show me video, which is where you just write on your iPad screen. So I take a photo, and then it's just like I was in front of the whiteboard. I'm not brilliant at it. I mean, I take my hat off to people like Khan Academy or any of these, Coops or any of these people who do it. They're fantastic, but that's what we do. And then they're there as a resource, and it's up to students whether they watch that before they dive in or not. And when they come back to me with questions, I always ask them, have you watched the video? And a couple of kind of decent questions will soon find out whether they have. And if they haven't, I send them to watch the video before they come back to me.
That's great. Thank you. It's really good to hear from you all, because we've been really keen to hear what everyone else is doing. We have some hypotheses, but it's good to hear what you're actually doing. So thank you. Did anyone have any last questions before we wrap up? Oh, yes, Francis.
I was just wondering, I don't know if you planned to ask this already, Hannah, but I was just wondering whether people felt like having this sort of conversation would be useful over the coming weeks, just to sort of a bit of a chance to network with other schools in the same position. So I just wondered if we were to put something more regular in, whether people would be interested in taking part. You don't have to, you can be honest.
Or anything that would make it more helpful, for that matter. You can also send us your thoughts afterwards if you like.
Good.
Okay, yeah. Well, we're hoping to run quite a few more of these sessions, either in this format or something very similar. But we really just wanted to be able to help you in any way that we can. So sometimes it's a lot easier to talk face to face. So it's been nice to see and chat to you all, and not feel like we're always in this kind of bubble at the moment. So thank you all for joining. If you did happen to have any other questions as soon as you log off, because often that happens and you suddenly think, oh, I did not ask that, feel free to email your liaison and they will happily get back to you. And then keep in touch in the future and we'll let you know if there are any more coming up.